This is Beer in Front, part of the Odd Pods Media Network. Sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet. I'll talk about some old school beers that maybe you've forgotten about, some new beers that have the potential to be a classic. I'll also talk to various people around the beer world and get their stories all about beer. That's Beer in Front, and it's coming up now. Welcome to episode 197, the February 19th edition of Beer in Front. I'm your host, Dave Zalatoris, and Beer in Front is a proud Odd Pods Media Network member. I'm a big fan of kombucha. I drink it. I used to brew it myself, so I'm going to mix things up on the show this week. I'm going to talk to Becca Schepps. She's the founder of Mortal Kombucha. They're based out of Colorado. Mortal makes some great tasting kombucha, and I figure we drink enough beer, so let's talk about something good for our innards to offset this. It's also Flagship February, and I'm going to have a classic beer review up later in the show. I want to thank you for listening. If you'd like to support the show, check out patreon.com/beerinfront for more details. Next week, I'll talk to Lars from Momentum Brewing out of New York. Momentum is making some great NA beers, and we'll chat about how they got started. Next week will be the podcast's 4th anniversary, and 2 weeks after that will be episode 200. I'm going to split the difference and have an anniversary 199th episode in 2 weeks. I've talked about hop waters before. I'm going to make my own from scratch. So check out the YouTube page to see how that's coming along. And I know what you're thinking. The show's called Beer in Front. You went from Dry January to a kombucha show to a non-alcoholic brewery and now hop water. Trust me, it just seems like everything happened all at once. Shows more focused on beer. We'll be back in a few weeks, but I do like talking about other things besides beer, so shows like this will continue, but regular beer shows will return in a couple weeks. This week, I'm not talking about a beer, but another fermented beverage. Kombucha is a fermented, sweetened black tea mixture with plenty of good bacteria for your innards. And let's face it, our innards need all the help they can get after drinking beer all day. Mortal Kombucha was founded in 2017 and is based out of Boulder, Colorado. They make a plethora of flavors, and they also have hydration packets. Joining the show now is Becca Schepps, who is the founder of Mortal Kombucha. Becca, thanks so much for coming on and talking about some kombucha.
Thank you. I guess we make two products good for drinking too much beer.
Yeah,
basically make like a powdered Pedialyte, so that'll dehydrate you as well.
You need that before you start, so you should have some of that. Anybody should have that in their backpack before they go to a festival or something along those lines.
Yeah, we're beer adjacent for sure.
Yeah. How did you get started with Mortal?
So my background is a creative director in advertising, and I've worked on a lot of packaged good products, and I was having like a borderline meltdown, and I was always doing everything everybody else wanted, and I was like, man, if I started something, I started making puns, Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombucha, and I just thought, like, man, wouldn't it be funny to make an aggressive kombucha? Because to me, kombucha was not just this hippie yoga drink. It was adjacent to energy drinks. It was fizzy. It was explosive, literally.
Yeah.
And I drank it in replacement, I replaced coffee with it at times. So I just thought, like, let's make aggressive kombucha more like an energy drink. And I thought that was a funny name, and built a website for it, mocked up a product for it, talked about it like it was real. It was all like fatalities and finish it. I thought people knew it was a joke, but I did have an e-commerce part of my fake website. People bought it, and I got home one day from work and was like, so I started a kombucha company today. I told my husband, and we should figure out how to make kombucha because I had like 7 orders.
Yeah.
So we went to a brew supply store because I was like, I think you ferment this stuff, and I think a beer maker should know how to do this. So I went to Vision Quest in Boulder. They looked at me like I was crazy, but they were awesome. They told me how to make kombucha and like what to buy. I think I left there with like a jar and some temperature strips. And they told me to go across the street to Barnes & Noble and get this book of how to make kombucha. The first page said, it takes 3 weeks. So I emailed my 7 orders and I said, your kombucha will ship in 3 weeks. And, what could go wrong? What could go wrong?
Oh, plenty. Yeah.
But so from there, somehow made a real product. Yeah. Now we're available nationwide in grocery stores.
Yeah, I know. I used to make it a couple years ago and
Nasty,
I stopped because like the whole apartment smelled like feet. So I had to stop making it. But
yeah, I think my husband was definitely happy when our like 800 square foot house no longer had glass jars like everywhere and like little stuffs of paper of like when to switch what.
Yeah.
We do not make it like that anymore. It is in a very wonderful commercial facility in Eagle, Colorado.
What I like about like the packaging design, like some kombucha companies look either very corporate or very like hippie, like you mentioned earlier. Yours looks very fun and something that is eye-catching, and like if I'm going to see this, I'm going to grab that as opposed to some sterile corporate looking kombucha.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that was the whole point. I was like, if you look at drinks and that are popular, like let's just look at the Mountain Dews of the world and the Pepsis, the Liquid Deaths, obviously like it's like the same idea where it was like drinks are just like mini billboards. They're like putting on an outfit and they're like saying like, this is who I am. This is what I want. So it just is very weird to me. I think more and more the natural food industry is doing that. But, in 2017, it was like you were a natural brand and you used muted colors and green and brown, or you were bad for you and you were a soda and you were doing Mountain Dew Code Red or whatever, which is a delicious drink. And I just thought like, well, Mountain Dew Code Red over here at least knows what they're doing because they're selling a lot of this stuff. So let's play more like them.
How long did you homebrew before you went big?
I like a month or so.
Okay.
No. No, I made it in our house illegally because we were selling to stores. So bleep that out. Probably for like half a year. And then we had to figure out kegs because people wanted kegs. And I remember Googling like, how do you fill a keg or something? And went back to Vision Quest, asked them a bunch of questions. And then that's when I realized we're going to need a lot more refrigeration than I have in my house, that I don't want to keep buying like that cheap $500 ugly white refrigerator from Home Depot. So we moved it into a commercial facility halfway through 2017, but a very small one.
Yeah. I like the flavors that you have here. Just looking at the website, they look fantastic. Now, did you come up with all of the flavor profiles yourself?
Yeah, again, it was that same idea where it was looking at soda, looking at sour beers.
Okay.
That was a lot of it. Walking the aisles of Walmart and being like, what is trending in juice?
Yeah.
Because, the whole idea was like, this is a drink with a image problem, not, and because people were making like, dirt, mushroom, ashwagandha, lion's mane, reiki root. And no one wants, that doesn't sound fun. And you're going to ask me to spend $5 on that. So if the drink is going to be, somewhere between $3 to $5, like, let me know what it's going to taste like was my idea. So made them very easy. So there's a margarita flavor. There's a watermelon mint. It's like flavors. They're just a little weird, but you know what you're going to get.
Okay.
So,
and what's the price point? Like on the website, it's showing about $4 a bottle.
Yeah. So we're in stores anywhere from around, so we often are 2 for $6, but anywhere from around $3.49 to $4.99 at like maybe a really specialty store.
Okay. When you were coming up with flavors, like I know when I was making it myself, there were some flavors that I thought, oh, this is going to be good. And then like you drink it and you're like, oh no. this sucks. Was there any combinations you're like, oh no, we need to dump this?
So I think this is like, I have a couple superpowers, and one of them was I like figured out what tasted good with kombucha.
Mm-hmm.
And it really was, I think I'm a Saison and sour drinker, and that base is very similar to kombucha. So it was like we always needed either a ginger or a citrus, because it just cuts that yeasty, fermenty kind of taste. So a lot of the flavors that we came up with always were like that. The only like flavor that never made it commercially was a flavor that was called pomegranate. So it was a pun that I was like, oh, I think this will be really good. So it was pomegranate and cayenne flavored kombucha. It actually tasted great, but it was being made when we were homebrewing.
All right.
And we would reduce pomegranate juice in cayenne. And this is also why I am no longer the brewer. I napalmed, basically, like tear gas my apartment multiple times by reducing too much down, and literally I'd walk into my house while I was simmering, and I was tear gas, and there's just like snot and mucus, and you had to drop to the ground and like army crawl over to the stove because you could see the layer of smoke. So we weren't responsible enough to make that flavor anymore.
Yeah, well, that's good. And I hope you got out of your lease okay without...
Yeah.
You got your security deposit back.
Down. Yeah.
We mentioned before you make hydration packets. When did that start?
That is brand new. It launched 2 weeks ago.
All right.
And so basically my background, I come from sports and fitness and exercise. Personally, like I raced collegiate crew. I was a competitive professional cyclist for a bit. And I just love exercise. So it was something I always wanted to do. And basically, as Mortal grew, it was like, okay, we have this kombucha. Not everyone likes kombucha. It's a refrigerated product. It's hard to move around. What is shelf stable and what also makes sense for the brand, which our tagline is fight death. Mm-hmm. And for me, that is fighting the death of yourself in a sport, basically. So bonking or whatever. So we're going to slowly roll out a line of sport nutrition products. And the first one is hydration, so it's like a Gatorade, but it's a powder, but it's really clean ingredients. It's certified safe for sports. And the flavors, again, are just very understandable. We have a margarita, a berry, and a mango.
Okay,
and
cool.
They're in your face, very sweet. You can dilute them. We have a very salty version and a regular electrolyte version. And I love them. I'm very obsessed with them at the moment. So
now, are those available in like the same retail locations where you could pick up the kombucha, or just mail order right now?
They are only available online at feed.com. So we are testing the flavors, making sure we have everything down before we bring to retail, like big mass retail. They are available for wholesale for like bike shops and, running stores and kind of smaller retail, but we're not trying to bring them to like a Safeway anytime soon.
All right.
Too expensive.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'll definitely have to pick some up because I mentioned those are always in my bag when I go to like a beer festival. I'm like, all right, let me hit this first. Let me get some electrolytes in my system before I go.
Yeah. And we did make some cocktails with them. So I haven't mixed them with beer yet, but I did mix them with a little bit of tequila. They taste pretty good.
All right. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Get your buzz, get your electrolytes at the same time.
Yeah. It's like a yin yang neutralizes. Yeah.
I saw you came up with an aluminum bottle. How did that come about?
So it's like all the same. One of the biggest things was glass bottles are heavy.
Yeah.
Kombucha also, because it's a live drink and we use real fruit, it ends up having a lot of sediment and goopy, icky stuff that like people are like, oh, gross.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, how do we not show people that? Because we do filter out everything, but there is still sediment.
Yeah.
Because it is a living drink. So there was a couple of things we were trying to solve. Also, it's a drink that people really enjoy in the summer and want to take places and do things, especially in Boulder. You want to go hike. It is not fun hiking with a glass bottle. So there was the idea, there's a lot of push, hey, go to cans, go to cans, go to cans. But for me, cans just never made sense for kombucha, especially the price point. I wanted to keep it at 16 ounces. I don't feel good selling people something that's 12 ounces for $3.50 or more. So I was like, I want it to be 16 ounces, but a 16-ounce can, now you have to drink that whole thing at once. Or you're going to be carrying this like stinky kombucha with you as you go on a hike, or it goes flat or warm, and kombucha does not taste good flat or warm. So it had to be a bottle. And so finally, when Ball came out with those aluminum bottles, I was like, wow, this is amazing. We need to move it into this bottle. Like, this makes so much sense for kombucha. And then it was the logistics of that I don't even want to go into, because it was a very like PTSD year of how to put it in there. But my dreams came true. We figured out how to get it into a bottle. And I think the product looks even better. It pops. It makes sense for how people consume it. It's better for the environment.
Yeah.
On like so many levels, from how much it costs to transport it around, because it's so much lighter, to how it can recycle.
Yeah,
the whole
exactly.
thing is recyclable. Because even glass bottles have a plastic cap. Now we don't even have a plastic cap. So,
did you piss off the home brewers because now they can't use your kombucha bottles when they make their own?
It is funny. We have received a few emails from companies being like, "What are you doing with all your extra glass bottles? Can we have them?"
Yeah.
So I haven't like no. Yeah. So and I've been like, we don't have any.
Yeah.
But we. Yeah, they're just gonna have to use bigger jars or someone else's bottles, but you can reseal them. So, but it is a single-use aluminum.
Okay.
So, yeah, technically that is a single-use aluminum.
Yeah, I mean, they look really good. I can't wait. When we were emailing, I'm going to be in San Diego next week, so I'll have to pick it up there and throw some blue ice things in my suitcase so I could bring it home with me. So I'm looking forward to trying the aluminum bottle myself.
Yeah, I actually also think for some reason the same flavors taste better.
Okay.
I don't know why. I think the mouthfeel on a aluminum bottle, I like it. I really love it. Yeah. So very excited.
Do you distribute all over? Because I know like the one spot that I could walk to, I guess they were out of it, so they didn't have it. So, but do you distribute nationwide?
Yeah, so we distribute nationwide. The aluminum bottles right now, we're on an exclusive with Sprouts. So they're in a lot of states, not every state. But then once our exclusive is up with them, sometime in the spring, we will start getting our aluminum bottles to more stores. But we're nationwide at major retailers and, small co-ops and things like that.
All right, cool. Like, can you get it at like big places like Whole Foods?
We are only in certain regions in Whole Foods.
All right.
So not nationwide in Whole Foods. But there's on the East Coast, we're in food towns, in California and like kind of that West Coast area. We're in a lot of the retailers and specialty retailers like your Lapsons and Jimbo's and things like that, on top of the Sprouts. So yeah. And then I think in the Midwest, it's basically mostly Sprouts.
Okay.
So, yeah. Woodman's, things like that.
All right. You mentioned like you use this for an energy drink. Now, I was always under the assumption that kombucha had less caffeine than even like a cup of coffee. So what's the caffeine level instead of having like a Coke or a Mountain? Well, it's got to be a lot less than a Mountain Dew, but what's the caffeine levels like and the sugar levels?
Yeah. So there is I can't say no caffeine.
Yeah.
But there is not caffeine in it. There's probably as much caffeine as in a decaf coffee.
All right.
So you do brew a tea. But then in the fermentation process, it's the caffeine or L-theanine, I think it is, that spurs it. So you actually like eat the caffeine away as you're fermenting. That I'm probably like going to get people emailing you that I'm saying the wrong things, but basically that's what happens.
That's right. So no one listens to it, so you're good. Yeah.
Good. But yeah, so there's basically no caffeine in it, but there is other enzymes and probiotics that kind of make you feel energized.
Yeah.
From the drink. And then sugar-wise, our drinks have 4 grams of added sugar because you need sugar to be the energy for fermentation. But then the drinks range from 14 to 19 grams of carbs. Okay. The rest coming from fruit. So they're anywhere from like 50 to 70 calories per the 16-ounce serving. So we try to keep them low, but not no sugar. Yeah. Because we are making real kombucha.
Yeah. When you add sugar and you're adding natural fruit, there's naturally going to be sugars, but not all sugars are bad for you. So you're in good shape. So
there's only 4 grams of added sugar.
All right.
So technically, yeah.
Well, I love the website. I love you have like this Jane Fonda workout video like outfit on, and like one of the pictures. The website is great. The design is great. Did you do all of this yourself?
My mind, when worked with amazing illustrators, the person who does all our little fruit guys, that does our hand scrapping fruit, is an amazing illustrator out of the UK called Dan. His name's Dan Evans, and he just when I found him, I was like, you are seeing into my brain. And then I worked with another a duo, this guy Taylor Cruz and Daniel Paisley, for the website to kind of get what's in my head out. So they're the engineers and graphic artists and designers behind it all. So,
well,
yeah.
Well, I'm really looking forward to having this myself. I'll have it like after this interview. I'm going to pick some up next week, and then I'll talk about it on the show afterwards. But
yeah, please do. I'm sorry I can't send you any. We don't ship it anywhere because it's the logistics and
the weather. You have to ship it cold too. So
yeah.
But no, I'll definitely pick some up. But you got to check their website out. It's drinkmortal.com. They have all their products there, a great merch section as well. So check out Drink Mortal. They have a thing where you could find it in your area. So if you're looking like, hey, where can I pick this up? It's right there on the website. They've got a nice little, like, almost Rolling Stones, like, logo icon when you're searching. So I like that as well. But Becca, thanks so much for coming on to talk kombucha. I'm looking forward to having it. I think I want to go with the Power Melon. I don't know. Like,
I would go peaches. If they have peach, go peaches. Be crazy. That's everyone's favorite right now. We can't even keep it in stock. So,
all right. I got to see also with like TSA. I mean, the weight of my suitcase, how much I could bring back. But I'm looking forward to trying Mortal Kombucha.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, I'm Pantsless Aaron.
This is Stevie.
And I'm Augie.
And we are BFYTW, a podcast all about playing games and having fun. Our games are usually based on British panel shows and game shows, but we'll play anything that captures our attention and imagination. Why? It's right there in the title.
You'll never guess what the F stands for.
I was going to bring back some Mortal Kombucha. However, with my luck, that would have not survived the flight home from San Diego. So I had it in the hotel room there. I didn't bring a mic, so I couldn't record it. But I picked up the watermelon mint one, and it was really good. I picked it up at Sprouts over there in the aluminum bottle that we were talking about. So if you like kombucha, I would definitely give Mortal a try. All right, it's Flagship February. I'm going to have Sierra Nevada's Pale Ale. This first came out in 1980. I don't think anyone, or probably 99% of the world, never heard of Cascade hops until they had the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. I'm not sure if it's their biggest seller anymore because the hazy little things are all over the place. But still, the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale is a classic. It's been around for 44 years for a reason. It's that good. And let's crack it open. The Sierra Nevada Pale Ale has a nice golden color on here. Good foam. Just get that nice citrusy pine aroma here. It's just a perfect pale ale. Now, this checks in at 5.6% alcohol, has 38 IBUs. And with all of the IPAs out, you think 38 IBUs are nothing. But back in 1980, 38 IBUs, that blew people away. So it's been a while since I've had the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. If you see it, put it in the cart. It's as great now as it was 44 years ago. So once again, if you see the Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, you need to grab it. All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Beer in Front. I thank you very much for listening. I want to thank Becca Schepps, who is the founder of Mortal Kombucha, for coming on and talking about their great product. If you'd like to get a hold of me, please email me, dave@beerinfront.com, and I'll see you next week where I'm going to talk to Lars over at Momentum Brewing, so look for that. Remember, sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet. Okay, we'll see you all next week.